Hi, everybody. Laura here. So glad you're joining me for the Create Joy Release blog hop with Simon Says Stamp. And this is a doozy of a release. I'm telling you, is busting at the seams with holiday cheer. So we're going to dive right in. I've got the new ring wreath die. It is so cool. It makes all these little baubles that you know what I'm going to do. I mean, you know I'm going to make a rainbow. Come on. So what I did was I die cut this in, and I was lucky ducky because it all stuck to my cutting plate. And that's what I was hoping for, because I was hoping to keep it all intact and just color it right on there. And I'm not worrying about it getting onto the wreath part, the outer part. I'm just going to go ahead and die cut another clean white one when this is all done. So I'm not worried about staying in the line, so to speak. And I've sped this up because, I've got to color a lot of baubles. But I can see as I'm getting color in, it's starting to come loose. So I pulled out my handy dandy press and seal. Now, I've said this before. Y'all know that Jennifer McGuire's husband invented this, right? This stuff is like magic. Seriously, you need it in your craft stash. So I pressed it on here to keep it all intact while I could. I just figured it'd be easier to color it, and that way I can see, because the reason I want to keep it intact is because I want to make sure that all my baubles are rainbow colored, spaced out evenly. You know what I mean? I don't want to get a bunch of red by each other, a bunch of orange by each other. I want it to be all evenly dispersed among the wreath. So here I took some Tombow Mono tape runner, and I probably should have used the removable. That would have been a better choice, but this is all I had at the time. So I just wanted to get this stuck down on a piece of scrap cardstock. Remove that press and seal, and we're ready to rock and roll, and everything's going to stay intact. So now we're getting down to some Sears Copa coloring, and we're moving on to the oranges. You can see my caps there. I'm not going to show every single part of the coloring because you get the idea. I'm going round and round, starting with the reds, the orange, the yellows, and the greens, and on and so forth. And you probably ask yourself, how in the world does that Laura Fedora manage to squeeze a rainbow in every card she makes? Well, number one, I do not put a rainbow on every card I make, just almost every card I make. And number two, I cannot help it. I cannot help it. It just happens. You know what I mean? It's just the way my brain works. And so here we're on to the greens, and we're having a gay old time. And I'm really not in the holiday spirit. Honestly, we're still working on Halloween. But I will say that this wreath would be the kind of thing to get me in the holiday spirit. And if I had a wreath like this, this is the colors I would want. Okay, so now I die cut another clean white wreath. I'm using my spray adhesive to squish them on, because I am not about to try to get some liquid adhesives on that tiny little detailed wreath. That would be a nightmare for me. And I got a little spray adhesive on my nice wooden dining room table. Okay, so next time you do spray adhesive, do it over a garbage can or run outside. But I know you probably don't want to get out of your seat. Okay, so now we've got this adhered onto a piece of fog cardstock, and we're going to start adhering. So I'm using my little Tombow Mono. Just a dab will do ya. Just a dab's all you need. Taking my little tweezers, and now I had to do a little shimmy action to try to get these off, because like I said, I use that Tombow Mono tape runner, so they're all adhered down pretty good, but probably should have used the removable. Whatever the case, we're going to start adhering these randomly if I can, and seeing which ones fit. It's like working a puzzle, and you kind of get into a groove as you go. Put on a little music and just have fun with it. Sit down, enjoy yourself. Walk the dog, have a cup of coffee, talk about it. That's my Boston accent. Is that Boston or New York? I don't know. Whatever the case. So I'm adhering these all down. Again, I sped this up. We're down to the last one, and putting in my last little bauble. And now we're going to go ahead and emboss our sentiment. I am using this joy, this big bold joy. Actually, it's not that big. It's small compared to the rest of them on the stamp set, but it's a nice classic bold joy, which I love, from the, what's that called? Create Joy Big stamp set. I'm going to emboss this onto some black cardstock and use some white embossing powder, Simon Says Stamp, of course. And then I will heat set that. Once we get that all rocking and rolling, we're going to pop it up with some foam tape. And then I'll go ahead, once I get that mounted on there, I'm going to stamp a sentiment in VersaFine Onyx Black from the big add-on stamp set. This is another new stamp set that just came out in the Create Joy release. So we're just about finished. I'm going to punch 2 holes using my little mini hole puncher so that I can thread some white satin ribbon. And let's talk about the ribbon. I have no idea where this ribbon came from. It wasn't on a spool or nothing. It was just, I thought I'm going to put a bow on the top of this wreath. And I pulled out my tub of ribbon, and there it was, just a piece, like the perfect length and everything, like it was meant to be. I'm telling you. And so anyway, any ribbon would work for this. A nice satin red would be pretty too. I don't tie bows on my cards like I used to. I used to do it a lot, and I love to tie bows. It's just so fun to me to get it. It's like getting it going in the right direction and having it all neat and tidy. You just feel like your whole world is in order when you tie a nice bow. Even though my house looks like a bomb went off, I cannot keep up. This 5-year-old Emma that I have, she is a walking tornado, and I exaggerate not. She gets out all the coloring books. There's crayons everywhere. There's Polly Pockets and Barbies and dolls and books. I cannot keep up. I'm telling you. The struggle is real. Okay, so last thing we need to do is just put a little adhesive on the back and decide which orientation of card I want. Top fold, side fold. It's the great debate. Which do you like? You like a top fold or a side fold? I'm kind of a side fold type of gal, but here we went top fold. We're shaking it up. Joy to you. Thanks so much for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your hop and have a wonderful day. I will see you next time.